Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the SoCal Prep Report. Rich Estrella, along with Bob Gibson, and we have Dan DeForest with us. Randy Rosenblum, as usual, calling basketball this week, and of course, our guest tonight, Ralph Grajeda, the head baseball coach over at Yucaipa High School. He'll be joining us tonight, talk a little bit about little baseball and see what's going on. Fellas, how you doing tonight?
All right, hanging in.
Doing great.
Everybody's all over the place. Bob, you're hanging out in Vegas, big volleyball tournament you're covering, huh?
Big volleyball tournament this weekend, so I'm in Vegas. A little crazy out here. Everything's just kind of reopened fully out here, so it's a little nuts, but having a good time.
All right, Bob, we're going to quarantine you when you get back, man.
Yeah, you
Stay
better.
right.
You better. When you see what's going on out here, that's a wise move.
I love it. All right, Big Dan, how you doing, man? How's basketball going with the girls this week?
The girls are doing great. The Empire League was a big battle, and they came through. There was some intensity and some tough games down the road, but Corrine ended up securing the number 2 seed, and then Tustin finished the number 1 seed. They're gonna be a tough outcome the playoffs.
This is really weird times. You know, me and Bob been at this a while, and man, Bob, I mean, right now, this time of year, we're supposed to be relaxing, getting ready for the All-Star games, you know. Pretty much the track and field's going on. You know, kind of the last thing to finish out in baseball would be at Dodger Stadium right now. And we're just out of sorts, man. It's just kind of weird right now.
Yeah, it's a strange time when we're still talking about basketball and all the sports that we're talking about. Basketball and baseball at the same time. I mean, right? We talked about that last week, how different, you know, this has all been this year. But I'm having fun with it. I know it's not going to last forever. We're going to get back to normalcy this next season, and I think that's a good thing. But I'm having a little fun with talking basketball and baseball at the very same time. Why not?
Yeah, it's just been crazy, man. And we'll talk to Coach Grajeda about this. But like I told you, Bob, it's like we're in a Twilight Zone episode. You know, we go by high schools and look out in the fields, you know, during practice, and everybody's out there. Every inch of the fields are being taken at this time. It's crazy.
No, it really is, because, you know, and I'll say it again, because I think you could say it 100 times and it's still not enough. But, you know, kudos to all the athletic directors who made all this happen this year, and all the coaches. Everybody put their hats on and just, you know, got down to business and made sure this could all happen. And I think it was actually more seamless than anybody thought could possibly happen. Everybody just worried, how is all this going to happen? And it just did, you know, and that's just a testament to, you know, we'll talk to Coach Grajeda here in just a minute, and we'll ask him how they were able to do it at Yucaipa as well. But I imagine it's the same path that everybody took. Look, everybody pulling on the same side of the rope, and that's how it got done, because, you know, it's for the kids. And you know, it's kind of a cliche, but it really is. It's to make sure these kids, especially these seniors this year, this class of 21, could have some sort of a season.
And you have to wonder, like, how much California was paying attention to what was going on across the country. You know, everybody else played during the regular season. A handful of states didn't play, but for the most part they did. And so they didn't really have those issues that we're talking about in terms of having to have, you know, you have football officials, you know, doing football games, basketball's going on at the same time as football is, you know, baseball, softball. I mean, you name it. You know, you need people to regulate and officiate those sports. And
well, you mentioned it a week ago as well. So there's some guys that came out of retirement to help out.
Yeah, know, they did.
Today, yeah, I'll come and lend a hand here and come do some games, right? And again, that's just the community coming together. You know, we just all, you know, again, another cliche, we're all in this together. Well, we were all in it together. You know, I mean, that's one thing you could say. Everybody was affected, you know, by COVID and by this lockdown one way or another. And when we finally got a chance to get out of it, it took everybody to get out of it as well. So, I mean, you know, we can say every cliche there is, but it's because they're all true, you know? I mean, yeah. Everybody pulling on the same side of the rope, everybody coming together. It's how we did it, you know? It's the way it's always been done in this country, right? It's the way America is built. So, yeah, again, a standing ovation to everybody who helped make this season happen, because we got one. We got a good season.
Yeah, interesting at that. And Dan, I'm sure you'll concur, man. It did take a Herculean effort this time around to get all this stuff scheduled and just officiated and in the books with very little controversy.
I think that was an amazing job. I think California was a little bit more cautious than some of the other states about getting it started. But once we got rolling here, you could see all the cooperation between the sports, the coaches, the schedules and the transportation. It just really came together. It's exciting to see all the sports, and especially football get a shot, and now we got baseball, basketball, and all the other sports. So
And look,
really
football will be starting up here in about what, Bob, 90 days or so?
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Right.
it's literally around the corner. I mean, it
Yeah.
really is. You're talking about, here we are at the end of May, 1st of June rolling around. We get through July and then beginning of August, right? I mean, we're right back into football season.
Absolutely.
It's not that far away. It really isn't.
So next week we'll have updates with basketball. Of course, there's always the at-large playoffs bursts, and then it's going to get started. And it's going to go quick. It's going to go fast. School year's almost done. A month out. Normally everything's done by next week. Track meets are usually the last, and baseball, and we're still at it. So we got a ways to go still.
We do. It's going to be fun.
Yep.
No matter what, it's going to be fun, and these kids are going to get to say they played a season this year. I think that's the part that makes me the happiest, right?
Yep.
Is everybody got a season.
Absolutely. Hey, let's get
almost everybody. I shouldn't say everybody. I think there's some city section schools that may not have gotten some stuff, but we'll talk about that next week as well.
Well, Bob, we were talking about that today.
Yeah.
When you had some downtime there in Vegas, but then we were talking about that today. So, anyways, hey, Coach Grajeda, I just saw Coach Grajeda pop in. I want to say hi to him. Coach Grajeda, the head baseball coach at Yucaipa, joining us tonight. Didn't want to be rude. Bob, how dare you not introduce our guest when he popped in like that. But anyways, Coach, hey, thanks for joining us, Coach. When we left off last time with you guys had nothing.
Yeah, we weren't really sure if we were going to have a season, and we got the okay from CIF, and I think it was kind of like hurry up and get going. So I'm just glad we're playing. I'm glad our seniors have a season, and that we're going to have a postseason as well. So far so good, considering what's going on.
Quick before I turn Bob loose on you, Coach, didn't you guys miss there was playoffs the last time when this thing started, right? You missed playoffs and then you missed the whole season, pretty much. Well, not a whole season. You're playing now.
We were 11 games in. I think everybody was about a third.
Yeah,
right. A third of the way into the season. So yeah, we were the first sport. We were the first, a season to get canceled, and and then obviously each season got canceled after that. So yeah.
All right, Bob, take it away.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, Coach, I think last time we had you on, which was a few months back, and we asked you about how it was to break that news to your then seniors that they were going to get to finish their season. What's it been like to get your program back on track? Now that we did get the green light to get things going, what was that path like to get back to playing just regular baseball?
I will tell you, this is my 23rd year. This is probably the longest and hardest year I've had, just because of trying to run the program, keep it competitive, and prepare for the path that we're taking. So we've had an interesting route. I think a lot of schools, right, wrong, or indifferent, found ways to play in the fall by either going out of state or finding ways to compete and get reps on their own and stuff like that. So we acted like a club team, and that allowed us to do some things in the fall, which we always do. We always act like a club team. And then, about a month before the season, we're the high school team. So that's kind of the route we took. And I know a lot of other schools haven't taken that route, but that's the route we took. And so far it's been pretty good. Pretty good.
What were the kids able to do during the lockdown? But you can kind of go out to your driveway if you're a basketball player, maybe shoot some hoops. You can maybe throw the football. Were the kids able to get together kind of on their own? Obviously not within the confines of a school atmosphere, but were they able to get together and even just play some tape ball or wiffle ball or something?
Good job of working within small groups, small pods, and playing catch. And I think the biggest thing was to keep their arms going, and then they found ways to hit and take ground balls, and they did it in small groups. And then as we got closer to the season, we were able to open it up. And then again, because we did play as a club team, we were able to find some opportunities here and there in the fall to play.
I mean, this is a team that you're still, I think you're like 17-8, 16-8, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
First place. Yeah, first, but still first place in the league, right? 9-4,
Still
three-way
first
ties. We were
in the
just
league.
talking about a three-way tie for first place in the league. Explain to us about how this team has grown this year.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. We are a young team, and because we're a young team, we've made it interesting, if you will, in the league race right now. There is a lot of learning lessons. I always try to schedule a very tough schedule. I believe it's going to bear fruit at the end of the season, and so I threw him in the fire. I've always done that. I've never ducked games. If we can go play somebody, we're going to do it. And there was a learning curve, and they're very talented, but they're very young. And we're growing, we're figuring it out, and it's pretty good. There's a lot of parity in our league. From a standpoint, there's some really good arms. There's some really good arms. We've seen there's about 3 D1 arms in our league, and they're doing a really good job. In the games that we've had with them, the games that we've dropped have been really tight games. And we have a young team, and they're starting to figure it out, and I like what we're doing. But again, I think. At the end of the day, we've muddied the water a little bit about with the learning curve that we have, and by tomorrow, for example, we have Ayala High School coming to our house, and they're number 1 in the division, and we're looking forward to it. And I think it's another opportunity to grow, another opportunity to learn how to compete against that caliber type of team. And normally we're a team that's in the top 5, and right now we're learning. We're learning. It's a young team. For as talented as it is, we are a very young team.
Not afraid to go into the city section, play some of those big schools. Certainly going to Orange County, which is a nice long bus trip for you guys, I know. But you're certainly not no stranger to going in there and playing those big powers and some of those Trinity League teams as well. I mean, how does that do? How do you gauge how that helps your guys? Are they wide-eyed when they first see these guys, or do you have them at the point where you're fired up to play these kind of teams?
Well, let me give you an example. I grew up in Orange County, so I mean, I've had several coaches that I know in Orange County, and I know some coaches that I've had this discussion with coaches in the Inland Empire. CIF is one, you got to go through Orange County to do it. And that may be sobering to hear, but it's reality. It's such a talented hotbed of baseball. And so for this year, I'll give you an example. We went in Orange County, and we played at the time, Foothill they were number 3 in the division, and we had a playoff atmosphere, 2-0 ball game, and I think we hit the ball in the screws 8 different times with runners in scoring position, and felt we should have won that game, and it was a great experience. And then we went into the Ryan Lemon tournament, and we played a red hot Notre Dame Sherman Oaks team, and I'll be upfront with you. They cleaned their clocks, and then toward the end of the game, our kids kind of got back in the saddle, and we were able to put up 7 runs and start playing Thunderbird baseball. But you can talk about it, but until you experience it and deal with it, you got to be able to do that. And our kids are starting to get used to it and kind of going from there. I'm always going to take our kids into Orange County or anywhere else it takes us to prepare us for the postseason. That's just my philosophy. I try not to put together a cupcake schedule. It feels good to get those types of wins, and I get that, but I don't think it prepares you down the line, and I don't think it develops your kids. And that's just my philosophy. That's just my philosophy.
Coach, I got a quick question for
Barry. No,
Hey,
go ahead. Go ahead.
real quick. So, Coach, we know that because of the seasons all kind of jumbled together. Did you lose any kids to any other sports that were key to your group?
The last time I was on the show with you guys, we talked about how this was going to impact everybody, and I felt all the sports were going to go at once. And we're a bigger school. We're not a gigantic school, but we're a bigger school, and it didn't really impact us that much. It did impact some of our other sports. But for baseball, it really didn't impact us. We shared a few athletes, but our athletic director has done such a good job, Matt Carpenter, with managing this, and it didn't affect us as much as I imagine it would affect smaller schools that really have to share a small number of athletes.
Tough. Makes it tough.
Yep, for
All
sure.
right, Bob, continue on. Sorry about that. I just was wondering about having to share athletes because a lot of other schools did, and like Coach just said, the smaller schools seem to take it on the chin more often than not because of the lack of athletes, lack of enrollment.
No, it's so true. It's such a great question because when you're talking about kids having to make a decision like that. But how about facilities? How did it impact your facilities and sharing fields and all that kind of stuff as well?
Well, our assigner for baseball has done a really good job out here in the Inland Empire, and all assigners have done a great job because it's been obviously a nightmare season. They've done a pretty good job of spreading out the league games, and we've pretty much it's kind of an unwritten law. If we get a rain out or for whatever reason we're playing on Mondays or Saturdays when there's umpires available. That's just the reality of it. The other thing is, we have, like most facilities, we have lights. I know my AD doesn't get any sleep or probably hasn't seen his wife in 3 months. So everything is just, they're out there. If we're practicing, we have our soccer team will practice like at 6, 7 in the morning. And then you flip the script on that. And then there's people out there up till 9 o'clock at night under the lights to make it work. And again, we're all doing this because we didn't want to have another, or we learned last year how important athletics is in a young person's life. And so we're burning the candles at both ends and make sure they have that experience, especially for seniors. So my hat's off to every single athletic director out there because this is, and you could have never called this, and they're doing a great job.
Go ahead, Dan.
Hey, Ralph, as a coach, how was the timing with that big layoff as far as getting your team together, the hitting timing, the pitching timing, and then, working together, of course? I mean, are you guys starting to put together some streaks or develop together as a team?
I think the team aspect of playing, because we were younger, I think we're a little bit, we needed to play more and we didn't really get that. We played a lot more than I want to say other high schools did. But as far as like the training and stuff, we got it in. We got it in. Just, without dancing around it, we found a way to get it in. They were able to condition. They were able to, within pods and within groups, to lift. They were able to do catch play. They were able to get their bullpens in. They were able to hit. We didn't have, the way we went about it was as a club team and followed protocols with our counting, with our city. So it was like, as it was different everywhere you went. And so one week we were allowed to do one thing, another week we weren't allowed to. So we just adjusted with it. But to answer your question, I think the learning curve was just the fact of playing games against real competition. And so like everybody else is catching up on it.
And then, so the timing with the pitchers were in your league. Were the pitchers a little ahead of the hitters at the beginning of the season?
I would say a little bit. We are. I don't know if you're following us. We are pretty offensive for a young team. Yeah, we're pretty offensive. We put a lot of time into the hitting. Don't get me wrong. We put a lot of time into pitching as well. But there is some really good pitching in our league right now. There really is. I mean. We have, there's about 3-4 Division I commits in our league, and we've seen one of those guys twice. So it's good. I think it's good. There's some parity in our league. I like it.
Coach, you got what? 3 games left and 4 games left in the regular season. Is that it?
We've got 4 games left in the regular season, and we've got 2 league games, and we're all tied up. I feel we should be able to take care of business next week and have a share in the title. We're hoping we get a little bit of help, and you never want to be in that position, but we put ourselves in that position. So I feel when the season ends next week, we'll be CBL champions and hopefully staying home for the postseason. And again, we've got a game tomorrow against number 1 ranked Ayala in Division I, which we're looking forward to, and that's a special program over there. And then we've got a game with Palm Desert next week, and that's it. We'll just wait and see what CIF does after that.
Well, Ayala's a good game to kind of, play right now because that's the kind of competition level you're going to play in the playoffs. So you may as well see it early, right?
It's always been my goal to try to schedule playoff types of teams. At the end of the schedule, 2 years ago, we were able to play Foothill. I want to say this was 19. So in 19, we were able to play Foothill toward the end of the season. That helped us both clubs. We needed to see that. And I talked to Coach Vogt over at Iola, and we needed to see the same thing for both programs before we head into the postseason. So that's always a good idea.
Coach, let's go off the beaten path for a minute. We were talking earlier, and me and Bob been talking about this. What do you make of all the no-hitters this year in Major League Baseball, man? I know you got to be a fan. You just can't coach and not be a fan of the big leagues.
I know.
But what do you think of all that right now?
I mean, on the outside looking in, don't you think the training and then just the training and just the athletes themselves are just so much better right now? I mean, how they're going about it. If you really dive in and you're looking at like some of the driveline stuff, which is development, total body and arm care and everything else, and then how they're training I don't know. I just think pitchers are they're like superstar athletes right now. They really are. I mean, it's not uncommon to see guys that are like almost throwing 100 miles an hour, which was like so, once in a blue moon. And there you're seeing like every club has like one or two of those guys, and it's unreal to see. It really is.
Pitch count that they don't let them pitch anymore. You had guys like let's talk about the pinnacle. Like Nolan Ryan, Louis Tiant throwing 250, 270 pitches in one game. And then they would get 3 days rest and do it again against each other. And there was a lot of other pitchers that went the distance. Fernando Valenzuela came in as a rookie. I think he completed 8 of his first 9 games. You can't get a pitcher to complete a game nowadays. They won't let him. I just kind of wonder if there was a pitch count back in the day. Can you imagine how crazy good Nolan Ryan would have been had he had a pitch count? Nolan, you're only going to throw 100 pitches today. That's it. Not going to be able to throw 300 like you normally do. You're going to throw 100. I mean, the guy's arm would be fresh all year round. He'd probably be throwing 105 miles an hour.
That's a special guy.
That's hyperbole.
Watching him. I grew up in Tustin, by the way. I was gonna say, Dan, I grew up in Tustin.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did, and I watched a lot of Halo games, and I remember seeing Nolan Ryan pitch, and holy cow, what a
I loved it.
Did he have some amazing mechanics, or what? His mechanics were just
Unreal.
all legs and
So
just
good.
unbelievable. You brought up a good point that you were talking about, their mechanics and stuff. Do you think that that's the reason why they're throwing so hard these days, or do you think it's their athletic ability or combination
It's a little bit of both. Just
how to
combination.
pitch?
The training, and how they develop pitchers, and this, the science, the backing behind it, and a good friend of mine, Rolando Garza, he was a pitching coach at Riverside Community College, and now he was at Pepperdine, and now he's with the Tampa Bay organization. And he spoke to our program, and the stuff that they're diving into, it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. I mean, they've got it narrowed down to, obviously they're going to maximize whatever that pitcher has, whether it's velocity or its movement, or the number of reps and a curveball, and all kinds of stuff. And it's just down to the minutia, and they're maximizing it, and they're developing these guys. They're just unreal. They're absolute athletes on the mound, 100%.
You guys use film when you're working with your pitchers as far as getting their mechanics, in order, and sort of straighten them out. And hey, you got to use your hips more, you got to rotate type of deal.
We have. I'm pretty lucky, and I haven't had a chance to talk about this coach. But my pitching coach is Chris Walters. Chris Walters was the pitching coach at Chaffee Community College for about 15 years, and he made a decision 2 years ago to, like most coaches do in the college circuit, to find a job that was a little bit more, one, more stable in pay, and then two, was more stable for his family. And so I convinced him to become a high school teacher, and he's almost done with some of the things he needs to do with his, his education. And he's been a tremendous asset here at Yucaipa High. Our pitchers are developed. He has maximized them. So for me, I'm pretty lucky. I have a college level pitching coach at the high school level. And so we've been able to do some things, especially with the young arms that we have.
Freshman pitchers on your team. Is there anybody we should watch out for in the playoffs here?
So we have quite a few young kids that have committed. We have a right-hander. His name is Owen Egan, and Owen is one of the best players, one of the best two-way players in the state of California. He is committed to UCLA, and he's been up to 93. And he's a young man that we have, and when I say we, I mean my pitching coach has done a great job of having him develop a changeup, being able to repeat his off-speed stuff, curveball, and so not only will he throw upper 80s, lower 90s, he'll come back and be able to throw spot a changeup, repeat a secondary pitch or a curveball, and finish a hitter. And he's done a really good job with them. And this kid's pretty special. I mean, he's only a sophomore, and if you look, he's a great hitter. He leads off for us. He's got close to 30 hits. I want to say he's hitting in the high 300s right now, and he's just a really special player. So he's only
6 with 32 hits. He's some kind of hitter, huh?
He's a really good athlete, and he really pitches. I mean, it's the hitting has come along. I put him in there because he was a really good athlete last year, and we needed it as a freshman. But he's worked so hard to become a legitimate two-way guy, and Owen's done such a tremendous job. We also have an unsung hero, in my humble opinion. We have a senior. His name's Aiden Rickert. He plays left field for us. This is the first year he started for me. And 4 years ago when he was in my program, I didn't think he'd get to me. And he's hitting, at one point he was close to hitting 500. He's got close to 30 hits. He's a 6'6" runner. He just committed to Cal State San Marcos. And that's the type of kid that, when you coach high school baseball, it's your program guy that just takes off and makes your program better. And you don't ever see that. You don't ever really hang your hat on it, but then he has been such a tremendous asset for us. It wasn't expected. And we do have some special hitters. We really do. If you let me go on for a minute, I'll kind of tell you what we got going on. Our shortstop, Caden Huber, is going to USC, but he's got so much pro attention right now. According to Perfect Game, he's the 9th best shortstop in the state of California. And I mean, he's got a lot of pro attention, and it's looking pretty good for him in the draft. And then we've got a junior third baseman. I mean, he looks like Dale Murphy, if you remember that guy. And oh man, I throw batting practice to him, and he makes my yard's big. I have a college level field. We're 330 down the lines and 390 to center, and he'll just crush it. Like, he'll crush it. I'm looking around like, this is a college level field, and he's making it look like a Little League field. We played yesterday, and he hit a 410-foot shot easy, dead center off a really good pitcher. And he is his name's Jacob Reimer. He's going to Cal State Fullerton. He's a junior, and according to Perfect Game, he's the best third baseman in the state of California. So we're lucky with what we have, but surrounded with what the rest of the team surrounded is a very young team. It really is. So we've got pieces. We just need to grow up a little bit, and we're getting there. We're getting there.
Sounds like you guys are going to be monsters pretty soon, before too long, huh?
I'm hoping so.
Young team like that?
But you got, a lot of it's a maturation process, and a lot of it is experience. We've got quite a few kids that are committed to the D1 level, but they're young. And, I think the next couple, 2-3 years, I like what we have. I like what we have right now. It's just, there's a learning curve.
Hey, Coach, it sounds like you also stress academics as well, right? I mean, it sounds like your program's sending a lot of kids to college.
Yeah, we're on them pretty good. I think it's the ex-college coach in me. I can't help but, stay on kids, make them – every kid thinks they're going to get all kinds of athletic money, and we all know that that's not the case. Grades make up a big part of rosters, and we tell our kids grades are money all the time, but you only get 11.75 scholarships for baseball. I may be off on that, but you got to be able to spread that out and get 36 guys on the roster. And I get that, being a former coach. And, we're on our kids about it. I'm in my 4th year. We just had Aiden Rickert, who I just spoke about, commit to Cal State San Marcos. That's our 25th kid that's committed to school in 4 years. And we've got a freshman that I needed to make a decision. I say that half-heartedly, but he's got it down to 2 Big West schools, and I'm like, they're both great decisions. Just pull the trigger.
Right on. Hey, listen, guys, that's it. We're out of time.
Wow.
Larry's doing this with one hand and this
right,
unwinding with the other. Hey, Bob, thanks for coming back, man. Very nice of you. I know that the
I dropped out. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but
I know.
I dropped out and got back.
I was just going to say something like that, but you beat me to it. I know what you're up to, Bob. You're nefarious, boy, you. All right, hey, listen, Coach Grajeda, thank you for joining us. We wish you all the luck going forward. Good luck against Ayala. If you guys win that game, you're legit. You're legit already, but I mean, it'll make you super legit because they are very good. What are they, like 16 or 18-1 on the season?
They're 18-1.
Jeez.
Special program. Coach Boca does a great job. It's
Yeah.
a great test for us before the postseason. So looking forward to it.
Perfect. Like you say, line them up heavy at the end. That'll tell you exactly where you're at going into the postseason. All right, we'd like to thank our guest, Ralph Grajeda, the head coach, baseball coach over at Yucaipa. I'd like to thank Bob Gibson, all the way from Las Vegas tonight, joining us. And, of course, as always, Dan DeForest from Tustin. On behalf of the group, I'm Rich Estrella saying so long to your friends here at the SoCal Prep Report. We'll see y'all next week.